Alright guys, so here's another massive four-way crossover, but I swear it has like a more cohesive theme, because looking back at the last one, the last massive four-way I did, that sounded dirty, I'm never saying that again. The last massive four-way crossover I did was Batman, Danganronpa, Hell of a Boss, and Resident Evil, and that was really incoherent. Like, looking back on that video, I was like, that was really incoherent. Like, that felt like kind of a mess. So hopefully this time around I learned from my lesson and do this better. Do this one better. And this one is kind of is also a period piece story. So this story is basically excuse me. I just ate dinner. Sorry about that. Anyway, so this story is set place in feudal-era Japan, and this more or less centers around four groups. This centers around four different four-way crossovers. As you can see, it is Inuyasha, Roni Kenshin, Daimajin, and Ninja Turtles. Yeah. I finally used Daimajin in something, so don't worry, we'll get to that in a moment. But anyway, so this story begins at Kaede's village, and Kaede's village has fallen under attack by a large faction of soldiers. This faction is waving a red flag with a black flag with a red symbol on it, and they decimate the town and kill several villagers in search of something. They left Kaede alive, but they killed a lot of the villagers and anyone who tried to fight them. Kaede reveals that these masked riders, no, not those masked riders, had basically decimated the town. They had, yeah, sorry, of course I told you that. So, the reason why they were destroying these unknown assailants had come to wreck the town, had come to wreck the village, was because they had been searching for the sacred beads that are around Inuyasha's neck. They didn't know where they were. They assumed that they were. They assumed that those beads were just a trinket there in the village. But when they said they couldn't find them, when basically they couldn't find them, they just burned the village and fucked off. And of course, Inuyasha feels kind of pretty guilty about this because, yeah, they're around his neck and they can't get him off. Now he knows there's someone out there looking for him too. Like, on top of that, there's someone out there who's looking for these beads. Meanwhile, in another part of Japan, another group of these unknown riders have arrived at Kenshin Himura's hideaway in the shrine. And Kenshin does fight his way through them, but he does note that these guys are very well skilled. They're not samurai, they're not ronin. He goes, it's ninjutsu. And then he makes that discovery, oh, it's the Foot Clan. Like, yeah, so the Foot Clan is our big villain of the story. The original Foot Clan, the original incarnation of the Foot Clan, is the massive villain here. In this story, the Foot Clan has been gaining power at an alarming rate. They were always seen as like the boogeyman of Japan. Like in this story, Kenshin had heard stories about the legends of the Foot Clan, like these ninjas who almost worked in human speeds and served a demonic master. So Kenshin, more or less, takes his sword, says goodbye to his lover, and heads out to hunt down these strangers, hunt down this ninja clan. Because if it is the Foot Clan, all of Japan will burn. If the Foot Clan, they're looking for something, and they desire it above all else. Like, and they'll burn the entire island to the ground if they don't get it. Now, obviously, Inuyasha and the others are also on the search for them because, yeah, you kind of burned a village where they usually go to for aid and whatnot and help, and, you know, you attacked their friends and killed a lot of villagers. You don't get to walk away from that. Now, obviously, Kenshin and Inuyasha do cross paths, and they do fight, and because Kenshin believes that these are demon, like, he believes Inuyasha is like a demon sent by the Foot Clan. And, you know, you always gotta, in classic fashion, you've always gotta have a, heroes fight, right? Like, that's always kind of, like, you gotta have the heroes versus heroes fight. That's always, like, a constant. Meanwhile, while this is going on, the Foot Clan has attacked another village on the coasts of Japan, and they have slaughtered an entire village. They've slaughtered an entire little castle of people. But however, when they're just about to go after the High Priestess, what happens is that the priestess says, you know, our mountain god will avenge us, and the Foot Clan ninjas are like, fuck your god, and decapitate her. Little do they know that's going to bite them in the ass in a bit. Now, you're probably wondering, well, who's the leader of the Foot Clan in this story? It is Orokusaki's ancestor. It is Oroku's ancestor, who I named Daisuke Saki. Now, Daisuke is he's older. He's more or less he's the last of the line of the Saki clan, who have more or less forged the foot into what it is now. He's been more or less, like, from the shadows, he's been manipulating Japan's politics for ages. Like, he's been the mastermind, kind of like putting all these feudal lords against one another, and also making it so the Emperor of Japan has to call in foreign powers and bring about the end of the samurai. That's his end game, is to bring about the end of the samurai and domination of Japan. Like, he wants a Japan free of feudal lords, free of Japan, free of samurai, and free of all this old world nonsense, because he wants to be the real power behind the throne. And the reason being is because the Sake clan was slaughtered by a feudal lord and his samurai. Like, his mother was butchered, raped and butchered. His brothers and sisters were all murdered. His father was executed, all because his father had spoken out against his lord's treatment. And his father was a samurai who spoke out against his lord's treatment of the village he presided over. So Daisuke grew up with just rage in his heart, and he became the founder of. He became the forger of the Foot Clan. And he is the one who wears the Kuro Kabuto up on him and has the name the Shredder. Like, because that was a title given to him by his enemies, like, because he shreds his opponents into like paper, like a piece of origami. Like, he just shreds them to pieces and throws them to the dogs. Yeah. So there's your TMNT reference. Anyway, so the reason why Daisuke, this Shredder wants Inuyasha's the cursed beads around his neck that are like his leash, is because they are more or less, the beads were forged from the bones of by a demon gate. They were forged by a living gate, a demonic living gate, that will open a door into the underworld and empower Daisuke's ninjas with demonic energy. So when he finally gets control of Japan, he will enforce it with all the powers of the underworld. You can't have that. So now Kenshin, along with Inuyasha and the others, are fighting against the hordes of ninjas. Eventually, though, remember when I said that the mountain god would not be happy with Daisuke slaughtering his entire village? Yeah, that finally shows up, because Daimajin finally wakes up and just starts wrecking the castle, just completely smashing it into pieces with Inuyasha and Kenshin following behind. Eventually, though, Daisuke does battle Inuyasha and Kenshin in a 2-on-1 fight, and he does hold his own. Keep in mind, he's not demonically empowered. He doesn't have any supernatural weapons. He's just really good. Like, of course, he's the Shredder. Of course, he's going to be a master hand-to-hand fighter. But in the end, they do defeat him. and order is restored by the end of it. So yeah, so there you go. A little more cohesive four-way crossover. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this crossover? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.